If you are someone who owns either Hedera, Render, or ICP tokens in your portfolio right now, especially if you are someone trying to buy any one of these three projects, this will be the most important video you've seen on any of these three projects in the last 6 months, and I can guarantee in the next 6 months as well. And how do I know this? Why am I so confident in saying that? Because I'm going to go over 5 things in each of these altcoins that are going to set you up for success and the things you have to prepare for now, and you'll see why in just a second. These are the things many people get wrong, and I've taken the better part of my last 2 days to create this video for you. Now, I've contemplated whether I should just make 3 individual videos, but I thought, why not blend them all together so you have one place to go to for all your needs, especially if you own 2 or all 3 of these projects. With that being said, make sure you do hit a like on the video if you do enjoy it, or think to yourself, hey, I've learned something new, it really helps me out, and of course subscribe so you can achieve your crypto goals. So make no mistake, the content I'm going to share with you in today's video is that important. It's going to be the difference between you succeeding and not succeeding in these 3 coins. Matter of fact, for any coin, just so happens that I'm talking about these 3 because they are so explosive. So if you aren't someone who follows at least to some degree on what I'm going to show you today and implements it straight away, bookmark the video, come back in 2 years, and I want you to tell me if I was right or wrong. I can almost guarantee you, you'll all be saying, I should have listened. So again, why these 3 projects in particular for today's video, when in reality, this all applies to every altcoin? Well, it's because they grow. Well, it's because these 3 are notorious for growing very fast. And based on the growth I've seen over the last 2 years for each of these, not just in the charts, I'm talking about what's happening actually in the business models themselves. You got to be prepared because we're going to see some massive gains. So in this video, we're going to go over exit plans. Most importantly, a reinvestment strategy, how to compound your gains for maximum growth. Also price predictions for each of these, fundamental analysis, and a couple other things as well. Basically, there's 5 things for each project. Now, you guys know me. I want to try to jam in as much content as I possibly can in every single video, but I'm going to have to skim over some parts just because this would literally go for an hour long. These videos, or this video could be broken into 3 or 4 different parts for each of these altcoins, okay? So I want to direct you guys as well quickly to the description. I'll leave the link to this sheet right here. I made it completely free for you all. It's called the weighted average sheet. It'll tell you all about the importance behind weighted averages and why it makes a difference in your exit plans. But I get it, right? We all know the importance of exit plans, which is why I'm touching on it for these 3, because they're going to have very sharp, quick, explosive gains. But we do have the exit plan sheet, or basically calculator, going into how to do this easily yourself, coming soon for level 3 on the private community. You guys will have access to that as well, which I'll leave the link to down below. ETA, and that's about 1 week or so. So let's get into Render Network first. Now, before I do, again, let's jump into very quickly some fundamental analysis, like very brief, right? So if you don't know Render Network, it's an AI GPU-based decentralized cloud network, all in big one simple mouthful, okay? They basically hit the biggest narratives that will come in the next 2 years for any cryptocurrency. AI, metaverse, play-to-earn gaming, cloud services, films and entertainment. Matter of a fact, I put this tweet out a couple days ago, which, by the way, you guys need to follow me on Twitter. I'll leave the link down below as well. This is why it's so important you do so, because this tweet basically showed you the comparison between Render's growth versus the entire, aggregate indexed global market cap. And as you can see, in comparison, the global market cap pales versus Render, right? It's actually 37% down from its open. You can't quite see that, as you can see over here. And Render is actually 207% up from its open way back down here. So it's dominating the market right now, and it's also in, again, 3 of these massive AI-focused narratives as well. Generative AI, DePIN, or decentralized physical infrastructure, and a combination of the both AI/DePIN, right, or big data. So it's like primed for takeoff, which is, again, the importance behind this video, setting up mainly these exit plans, finding a price prediction, and then mapping this all out and redoing this every 6 or so months. Again, it could have a massive explosion tomorrow for all you know. Now, I want to take you guys also over here to my good friend DHN Crypto. Put a great video out 3 weeks ago, basically on Render Network, and here's some of the partners that we do need to know about. This sheet was hard to find. I want to leverage his video for this. He is one of the best YouTubers in the space for anything regarding the best cryptocurrencies. I suggest giving DHN a follow. And NVIDIA, Chaos Group, Arnold, Redshift, and Unreal Engine all leverage Render Network for their services. Here's some of the things that we will cover in today's video for each of these three altcoins. Now, it's going to be 1, what's the current price and current market cap of the project? You can see Render right now is $4.30, 1.6 billion market cap. Well, we're going to leverage three price predictions, but 2 initially. We're going to look at the price prediction sheet over here. As you can see, come up at about $57 for the future price for Render Network at about a 26 billion market cap, giving about a 13x in multiples from the current price. And I also have my price prediction based on external variables as well. I think $65 is a reasonable prediction for Render Network. That's about a $30 billion market cap and 15x from the current price. But here's the thing. If you guys know and watch my channel regularly, you will know market cap is a load of BS. Market cap's a fugazi number. It doesn't really mean anything. For example, Render Network can actually reach $65, probably at like a 20 billion market cap. So in reality, market cap doesn't really mean too much, guys. So don't weigh up too much on this. And as we'll see here in a second, what we're going to do for each of these altcoins is actually forecast a third prediction based on some of these market experts and what they recently have predicted for the global market or for Bitcoin, which we can obviously backtrack to find out what the market cap might be for a project like Render at different levels. So to cut a long story short, and again, I'm not going to touch on this for all three projects. Render is going to be like the, model for all three of these, and then we're going to run through ICP and HBAR very quickly. But as you can see for Render over here, the two main levels that we kind of have predicted from a lot of these industry experts, I'm talking like guys with almost $1 trillion in assets under management, predicting basically, long story short, these two levels for the global market to go to. In 2024's peak, about 3.2 trillion, and 2025, about 6.5 trillion. So what we're going to do is use Render's current market dominance of 0.1% and work out what that's going to be if it stayed the same at the end of this year, which is worst case. That means Render basically holds its own against the market, which, we've seen the massive growth already. It's not going to do that. It's most definitely going to outperform. We're going to also have a look at, in a mid case, what happens if Render 5x's its market dominance when the global market likely goes to its peak in 2025 at 6.5 trillion, and also 10xing the dominance to 1% if the market were to go to 10 trillion at very best. So we have very, very worst, very, very best, and also a realistic middle ground as well. We've obviously pulled down to find the market caps at these levels. It's very simple to do this. We basically take the global market cap and multiply that by the percent market dominance that Render is. Basically, the math goes that whatever the market dominance percent is, again, in Render's case, 0.1% currently, that percentage is the market cap of Render versus the entire global market cap. So again, 0.1% of the global market cap being $3.2 trillion is a market cap of $3.2 billion for Render. So again, all we've done here is basically pull all these three down and came back with, as you can see here, a price for Render, okay? Obviously, given the fact that we have the circulating supply in 2025 as well. So that's $98.70. So you can see that's slightly more than both what the price prediction sheet came back up and what my price prediction was. So what we're going to do is take my price prediction, because I feel like I'm a bit more accurate than the price prediction sheet, and also the best case over here, and find the average, which is $81. Again, we're going to do this for all three of these projects. And then what we're going to do in this case is, again, mark this on TradingView. We're going to pull down 25%, because I don't know if you guys realize, but a price prediction itself is the max a project could go to. Now, it could go more or less than that, of course, but that's where we have a rough idea. We pull down 25%, like you can see. We then mark that level at $60 over here for Render, which then becomes our actual realistic ladder sell max price, which basically means that we can begin ladder selling at this level, okay? So we can have some sell levels above this, some below this, but the closer we go to this level, right, above this, the harder it becomes for it to actually really happen. Again, the higher we go in price, the more unrealistic it becomes for the project to hit that or maintain that price level. It's very simple, okay? So we got to ask ourselves, right, if we're looking to get into Render, are we happy if the price goes to this level at $60, which is a 14x from the current price? So you need to ask yourself, are you currently happy with that price prediction of 14x from the current price? Now, of course, if you bought into Render at $2, you'd mark this down to $2. If you're looking to get into the project, obviously you'd go from the current price to figure out how many multiples you can actually get at the best case, which is of course currently a 14x. Long story short, if you're not happy with the 14x, or you just don't want to, of course, sell at the highest possible level, because again, the more you go up in price, the riskier it becomes in any project, obviously. You can do two things. One, forget about render, of course, and move on to a new project that you can achieve your goals. You might want a 30x or a 50x. Go find those projects. Or in this case, you simply move your entry level down to achieve, obviously, a price that can actually be attained. Like you wouldn't pull render down to 10 cents. That's never going to happen. You'd likely pull it down to like $3 at worst. And then in that case, you'll also pull down your max sell level to still achieve your 14x. Render might never actually hit $60 for all we know. So if you achieve your goal here, just achieve your goal, okay? Mark that as your sell level. So here's my exit plan for render at $60. Again, that $60 is actually, we've moved down 25%. That actually becomes the max realistic price we can actually sell render out of. And so to achieve this goal, if you are someone who bought render at $1.30, that's a 46x. If you're someone who averaged in at $2.50, it's a 24x. And if you are someone who averaged in at $4, that's a 15x. So I wanted to show you and visualize this to you. And so in this case, we're going to aim for a $60 token, okay? Because I'm guessing most of us probably bought in around $4-ish. So personally, I'm not selling at a take profit level for render because this is going to make it super hard for us to actually achieve that. If we were selling lower, I would opt to do it. Now, what does that really mean? Well, I'm going to touch on this in the Hedera example in just a moment. Actually, the ICP example, let me correct myself. So this is basically the answer to our question, okay? So because again, we're aiming for like the last possible level here that's actually we can ladder sell out from as an average, we're not going to be selling any crazy low sell levels, okay? Like take profit levels, because that's going to mean we're going to have to sell even more up above the average level we need to get out of, which is risky. Again, anything higher than this level is risk, risk, risk. This level is, again, our max price prediction. We don't want to go anywhere near that. Hence why I've come up with these levels over here. And as you can see, I've separated them in distinct differences. So underneath the red level, we've gone in increases of $5 for render, and above the level is $2.50 increments, okay? Because obviously the higher we go, the riskier it becomes, and the lower we are, the easier it is to achieve. So that's why, of course, I've done it. And I know the levels between these are the jumps, because what I've done is gone back to Render Network over the last 12 to 24 months, figured out, roughly speaking, the gains it's made and what's realistic jumps for the project, and I've mapped it out that way, okay? So, for example, I wouldn't jump render in $20 average increments, because the project basically moves max in $5 increments, and that's going to be like obviously huge jumps, whereas $2.50 is like probably the average jumps on a max level it really makes, okay? So here are the levels in which I will look at selling render. Again, this is my personal opinion. Of course, there's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. I'm showing you what I would do as a cheat sheet for you all. Again, remember, if you're not happy with this, I do have this coming to the level 3 private community very soon, which will help you punch all of this in. Again, it's all kind of mapped out for you on here anyway to teach you how to actually go about this yourself. So with that said, we've got, again, 9 sell levels in total. Again, the weighted average here, we're just under the $60. So that means we basically average out at $58, slightly beneath our goal. In this case, we're looking to, again, basically multiply our $5,000 investment into $75K, which is a 15x, which is, again, based on this last level over here, which is done because I think most of us will be in this boat. I wouldn't go anything above this level, basically, just to be safe. And again, it's very important to understand, guys, price predictions are just price predictions. In 3 or 6 months, this can completely change, right? Which is why you have to stay in and tuned in, because market dominance changes, the quality of projects changes with updates, and that's why I tell you all to revisit this every 6 months, every 3 months, and then once a month when we're in the real bull run. So with that being said, let's now move into the next project, which is ICP. Now, I don't want to touch too much on ICP's fundamental analysis over here because I've got a video coming out in a few days touching more on this. Needless to say, this is one of the things I will bring up in the video. ICP, as pointed out here over by the founder, Dominic, these guys have the lowest, what's called the CPA, or cost per acquisition, or basically how much the cost is to bring on a new user into the ecosystem out of any cryptocurrency by a matter of 200x, whereas it 200-fold, which is insane. And he goes on to the reasons why this is important in this post, which again, I'll bring up in a later video. So in ICP's case, cut a long story short, I think The price prediction should come up at 25x in terms of the multiples here, $310. I actually don't think $310 will likely happen for ICP. I think $250 is more feasible, roughly speaking about a 20x from the current price. Again, make believe, kind of a rough number, 125 billion market cap for the project. So again, we're touching on those two price predictions, but also the price prediction given from what the experts are basically saying for the whole entire market. And in this case, $307 comes up from that. So what we're going to do, of course, is take my price prediction and the max price prediction from those experts. And the average comes up at $279, which again is the actual price prediction minus the 25%. So realistically, our ladder sell highest price is $208. So of course, I'm going to decide to sell ICP at $150, not the max $208 like I showed you before with Render's example, because most people are likely buying ICP for less gains, but to offset the risk. So people who bought in at $3, they'll be a 50x at $150. At $6, a 25x, and at $10.50, roughly the current price, that's a 14x. So we're going to use the middle ground here at $6 and kind of build this out in the example. But remember, I think most people are buying ICP, and the reason why I've chosen $150 is just some more or less higher multiples, right? So like, for example, if you're someone who bought it at $10.50, you're getting a 14x, which is higher than what you can get with Solana, maybe even ADA, for example, and yet it's a safer play, okay? It's more universally accepted over a project like Render that might be used for higher multiples. That's a riskier play. That's why I've chosen $150. And again, so if you are someone who bought in at $6 average, we can try to find you here at 25x or 125K revenue. So here was my final result for ICP. As you can see here, we chose a midpoint of $78 for the project as a take profit level. We didn't do this for Render, and we won't do this for HBAR, again, because we aren't going to this max level of $208 like I showed you before. We aren't doing this. That's the max level. Now, again, it's easier for us to do this because we can sell levels significantly higher than the price we're actually looking to get out of because we have more leeway, right? We're not stressed about getting too close to the realistic max price. What we're trying to do here is, again, get out at $150, which means even if we wanted to, guys, we can pull some levels up here to counteract this super low level down here. Again, it's a midpoint between $6 and $150. So it's halfway between here and halfway between the average DCA price we got in at. So all said and done, I've got 10 levels I've picked out here. Again, this is our initial investment of $5,000 being taken out. Nice. That's a horrible drawing. Nice, safe profit. And the rest is, again, all on the house. It's all profit from here. So again, we can work this out. You guys can screenshot the levels, as you can see here, 6% all the way up to 11 and then 21 on the top. And we can see 122,000 revenue just falling short of the $150. And we get to $146 weighted average. So that's 146, as you can see right beneath that line. So this is what I would do if I managed to get into ICP. I'm not an ICP because you guys should know right now I was looking to buy at a certain level, didn't plan this out beforehand, and of course it's cost me buying in when I could have at $3. So yeah, this is what I would do for those of you who are in ICP. Again, you could probably, chop and change this yourself. The max I would look to do this is at $208, but in that case, I wouldn't do something like I just showed you. I would do something like this, like with Render, where you're not taking an early investment level out, which of course just increases the amount of levels you have to sell, or percentage of your portfolio rather, you'll have to sell above that. Last but not least, we have Hedera HBAR, which of course you guys know I'm a massive bull of. Full disclosure, it's my number one holding, but that's for a very good reason, right? I try to put my money where my mouth is, but also I only buy the projects that are going to succeed. Otherwise, I just don't buy them. I don't care where my money goes as long as I make money, right? That's the whole point. So HBAR recently put a whole heap more tokens into circulation. We know now that's a lot of BS. It doesn't really impact the price at all unless they're openly sold. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the recent video I think I made yesterday that touches on this in more depth. But we can see Hedera's ecosystem is increasing. I feel like partly based on this unlock. They unlocked 4.8 billion HBAR tokens, around 12% of the supply, to go back into ecosystem development things, to build the Hedera community more, okay, which of course we've seen nothing but, basically exponential growth at this point for the TVL in HBAR, right? I think it's number like 18, 19 out of all the networks, and again, growing very fast at that. We've never been a higher TVL than this So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And if it keeps this up, I think it will definitely hit 100 billion market cap in the bull run. Now, guys, I also suggest you subscribe to Max Walker and Williams. This guy is a HBAR absolute genius. He had this great interview with Lehman, and I've got to call it for what it is. The guy's a genius. If you are a HBAR fan and you're not subscribed to him, honestly, that's the biggest mistake you'll ever make in crypto. And he and Lehman basically talked briefly about AI and the fact that Hedera is bringing on AI as a core component, at least in the projects of building on the network, which, as you know, AI is going to be a massive shift in the growth of crypto and also the world. So, of course, it's going to have, great effect for the price of your tokens in the next 2 years. And this was a great article written here by Monique only a few days ago, touching on a little bit about HBAR and how it's linking AI and DLT technology to, of course, grow the future of money and also just the world in general, okay? Now, I want to, before we move on, point the fact out, and this is what actually Max pointed out on his Twitter, that if HBAR went to the same all-time high market cap this bull run of Doge, its price would be $2.64. Let that sink in. That's a 35x from the current price, and again, I think it could probably hit 100 billion market cap. Again, if things go, well for HBAR, as long as it kind of emulates what Cardano did in the last bull run, which I think it can. So back onto the topic, same sort of story in this case. We've got two predictions. One over here from the price prediction sheet, $1.80. The only reason why it's $1.80, it used to be $2, was because the dilution of the supply. Again, it's a whole BS thing in this case. Either way, still a 24x. I think $2 is still on the cards for HBAR, which is a 27x from the current price. Now, again, we apply the recent data from all these experts, and we come to a price of $1.66, which is actually less. Again, we take in this sort of crazy supply dilution. And if we, of course, take the average of my prediction, this new prediction comes to $1.80, which happens to be the same as the price prediction sheet, which is kind of funny, kind of accurate, I think, actually, probably. And 25% down is $1.35 as that max realistic ladder sell price. And in this case, I'm going to actually decide to sell at that level because I think HBAR can most definitely hit $1.35, which is why I'm aiming for that. And so again, just punching some numbers here. If you're someone who averaged in at 5 cents like me, that's a 27x, 6 cents, 23x, and 7 cents, 19x, okay, which is basically the current price. So 19x from the current price. And keep in mind, I think this is actually a very realistic level. So I definitely think you could very well easily 19x from the current price, right? Not financial advice, of course. So here's what we're looking at. If you invested $5,000, again, at 5 cents, you have about 100K HBAR. And the goal is to 27x because, again, we are focusing on this level over here. This is the levels I would choose. I've got 11 levels in this case, so more than the other two. And as we can see here, I've given you two examples of how much this can really be a different thing for everyone, which is why I'm making that, in level 3, that calculator, because you can choose how many levels you want yourself and you can make it very customizable because some people like to spread out the risk. Some people like to have it more condensed and get it all done and dusted. It really does depend on your personal needs. Again, screenshot this if you are someone looking to get into HBAR, and we come to 132,000 revenue, which is a $1.33 weighted average, again, just beneath the $1.35. Notice that I don't actually hit any of these prices exactly because we're talking about the difference here between $1,000, and that's kind of fugazi. We're getting it a little bit cheaper, okay? We're just not moving those percentages as high as what they really should be to actually achieve our goal, but I think that's probably playing things a little bit safer, to be honest with you anyway. So here's an alternative, right? Instead of going to 11 levels, going to 9 levels only, and we can notice that we basically are the exact same weighted average. And all we're doing in this case is moving all of the money that we were to sell at a higher level, so $1.50 and $1.55, and chopping those out and moving all this profit over to the one level, which arguably is actually probably safer because you're still selling this, almost $60,000 that you would at these levels. You're selling it still at a high level, but in one single fell swoop. So realistically speaking, I think this, even though it's selling $69,000 at one single level, is better than trying to take the extra risk on at two higher levels, to be honest with you. Now, yes, we had to add a little bit more on because instead of, distributing to higher levels, we're now consolidating into one level that's a lower level, so we're getting less profit for the same percentage. But even so, and you can see here, we've actually moved the first sell level up one. So rather than at 80 cents, we're selling now at 90 cents. I still think this is much safer, right? And the spread is obviously a lot narrower, a lot higher to the upside. But as you'll notice, you still achieve the same goal, and I think in a safer way as well. So again, there's 1,000 ways to really skin this cat. Now, one thing I will leave you on here is what to do for reinvesting, compounding. It's zooming out and not looking in the next 1, 2, 3 months, or even the next 1 to 2 years. We have to have a multi-year or a multi-cycle outlook, because a lot of people in crypto believe to themselves, if this was currently HBAR's price, for example, and we bought, again, $1,000 worth of HBAR today at 5 cents, and that was 20,000 HBAR we picked up, the motto goes, and the crypto philosophy says, hodl. Just hodl. Don't sell, okay? When, if you do decide to follow that sort of philosophy, and you do decide to hodl past 2025, you don't sell at all in 2025, and you hodl till 2030, hey, you made a 200x. Congratulations, because you bought so cheap over here. It's now, let's say, $10, the price for HBAR. Congrats, you turned, $1,000 into 200K. That's wrong. Don't believe this story. It's dogma. It's a load of BS, right? You don't want to be doing that. You want to compound on a multi-year level. So what I'm talking about here is taking the same story, and then rather than not selling in 2025, is to actually sell in 2025 and then buy back in with that profit that you made over here and buy as much HBAR as you can in the next bear market to then sell in the next bull market, right? 2030's bull run. Now, this was a different example. I don't really want to show you that, but what I will show you is the actual example I'm talking about here. And if you decide to sell all these tokens, right, at let's say you sold out at $2 over here in the next 2025, and you made $40,000. Let's say you decide to keep $10,000 for your bills, electricity, blah, 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 tax maybe even, and then you have $30,000 out of the 40K you decide to put back in a HBAR. When it goes in the next bear market, price goes to say lowest 25 cents, which of course is about a 5x from the current lows. I think HBAR will probably go even lower than the current price because there's likely going to be some massive economic problems in the next bear market, but that's, best case. Let's pretend, again, HBAR's average lowest price goes up 5x on average, and we decide to buy with our $30,000 as many tokens as possible at 25 cents, and we get about 120,000 HBAR. Notice now we have 120,000 HBAR to sell at $10, which is the price it might go to, again, in 2030. So in this case, overall, we 80x. We don't even get anywhere near the 200x like we did before hodling. It doesn't sound as cool, but we make 1.2 million rather than 200,000. We make $1 million more dollars because we compound multi-year. We sell here, buy back down here, and sell again. Because all you have to know when it comes to crypto is the more tokens you hold, the better. It's not the price you bought in at, it's the amount of tokens you bought at that price. It's all about price, guys. And so us simply acquiring more tokens works out better for us, okay? Again, including selling money for tax over here and all that sort of jazz. So with that being said, guys, have this multi-year approach. Take the information you've learned today and apply it. Give it some thought. Don't give it, don't be a TikTok brain person where you listen to this and go, okay, I'm going to move on. No, give it some thought. Think about it. Have a pen and paper and apply it to your coins. Again, this will all be simply done for you in the private community. I'm not trying to shill it to you. I'm just giving it to you because that is what I'm trying to do in crypto, is provide as much value as possible to you all to save you time. With that said, thanks so much for watching to the end. Drop a like if you made it this far, by the way. I want to see how many of you actually made it 30 minutes into the video. And with that said, talk to you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.